She hadn't spoken a word since birth. The CEO froze in awe when a single dad helped his daughter speak for the first time. Look. She hadn't spoken a single word since the day she was born. Doctors said she was physically fine, her hearing was perfect, her vocal cords healthy. Yet the little girl remained locked in silence. For years her father, a man known to the world as one of the most powerful CEOs in the city, carried a pain no one could see. He had built companies, made fortunes, signed deals that shook markets, but when he looked at his daughter, he felt utterly powerless. He could give her the world, but not the one thing he longed for most, her voice. And then, one ordinary day at the playground, everything changed. Stay with me until the end of this story, because what happens will touch your heart and remind you of the incredible power of kindness. And if you're new here, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Kindness Stories, where we share real, emotional, and inspiring tales that prove kindness is stronger than anything else. Daniel Stone was a man people respected, even feared. The CEO of a multinational company, he was the face of success. Yet behind closed doors, in the grand house that felt more like a palace than a home, Daniel lived in silence. His daughter, Emily, was 6 years old now. Beautiful, with bright brown eyes and a smile that melted even the coldest hearts, but she had never spoken a word. Not daddy, not please, not even yes or no. She would cry when upset, laugh soundlessly when tickled, but words never came. Daniel had taken her to specialists around the world. Speech therapists, neurologists, child psychologists. Some told him it was trauma, her mother had died giving birth to her. Some said it was selective mutism. Others simply shrugged and said she would speak when she was ready. But years had passed, and Emily's silence felt heavier with each day. What broke Daniel most was watching other fathers with their children. In restaurants, parks, or airports, he would hear little voices calling daddy. The very word he had been desperate to hear just once. He had all the wealth in the world, but none of it mattered when Emily looked at him with eyes full of thoughts she could never express. One Sunday afternoon, Daniel decided to do something he rarely did: take Emily to the local playground. Usually he avoided crowded places, not just because of his status, but because he hated the stares. Parents whispered about the CEO's mute daughter, kids sometimes pointed, and Daniel's protective heart couldn't bear it. But that day, something urged him to go. Emily held his hand tightly as they walked into the park. She was always shy in public, pressing close to him like she wanted to disappear. Daniel guided her toward the swings and sat on a bench nearby, his expensive suit out of place among the parents in sneakers and hoodies. He sighed as he watched her sit quietly, watching other children play tag, laugh, and chase each other with carefree joy. Daniel rubbed his forehead. He had meetings that felt easier than this. He had negotiated billion-dollar contracts, but he couldn't negotiate with life to give his daughter a voice. Then a voice interrupted his thoughts. "Mind if I sit here?" Daniel looked up to see a man about his age, wearing a simple t-shirt and jeans, holding the hand of a little boy. The man's eyes were kind, his presence calm. Daniel gave a polite nod, expecting silence, but the man extended his hand anyway. "I'm Michael. This is my son, Jacob." Daniel hesitated, then shook his hand. Daniel. Michael didn't seem to recognize him as the CEO who appeared in magazines. Instead, he simply smiled and let his son run toward the swings. Jacob climbed onto the swing next to Emily, grinning brightly. "Hi. I'm Jacob. Want to swing together?" Emily looked down, clutching the swing chains. Her lips parted slightly but no sound came out. Daniel instinctively leaned forward to explain, but Michael placed a gentle hand on his arm. "Let's just see." Daniel frowned, but he stayed quiet. Jacob didn't seem discouraged. He started swinging gently, chatting away as if he had known Emily for years. "That cloud looks like a dog. Do you see it? And that one looks like ice cream." He laughed at his own words, swinging higher. Emily glanced at him once, then quickly looked away, but her shoulders relaxed just a little. Daniel noticed. It was subtle, but different. Usually, she shut down completely around strangers. Then Jacob pointed again. "That one looks like a bunny. What do you think?" For a long moment, Emily sat still. Daniel held his breath, his chest tightening. And then, in the softest, most fragile voice, Emily whispered, "A flower." Daniel froze. His heart stopped. His eyes widened in disbelief. Had he really heard it? He leaned forward, tears instantly welling up. "Flower," Jacob repeated, grinning ear to ear. "Yeah. It looks like a flower too." Emily looked at him, her lips trembling, but then she smiled. "Bird," she whispered, pointing at another cloud. Daniel covered his mouth with his hand, trying to hold in a sob. Years of silence, years of waiting, and here it was, her voice. The word he thought he would never hear. Tears streamed down his face as he dropped to his knees beside her, swing. "Emily, sweetheart, you spoke," he choked out. Michael placed a steadying hand on Daniel's shoulder. "Looks like Jacob made a new friend." Daniel looked at him, his vision blurred with tears. "You don't understand, she's never spoken. Not once. This is the first time." Michael's expression softened. He gave a small nod. "Sometimes, kids need another kid. Someone who makes them feel safe. I'm a single dad, and I've learned one thing: children don't always open up to adults. But put the right friend in front of them, and miracles happen." Daniel hugged his daughter tightly, his suit soaking up his own tears. "I love you, Emily. I love you so much." She rested her head on his shoulder, whispering one more word that made his entire world stop. "Daddy." That was it. Daniel broke. The powerful CEO, the man who commanded boardrooms, was now just a father crying openly in a playground. Strangers watched, but for once, he didn't care. Nothing mattered except the little voice he thought he would never hear. From that day on, Daniel and Michael became close friends. Their children played together often, and Emily grew braver, her voice stronger with each visit. She still didn't talk to everyone, but with Jacob, she laughed, told stories, and discovered a part of herself that had been locked away for 6 years. And for Daniel, it was the greatest lesson of his life. All his power, all his wealth, couldn't give his daughter what kindness did. It wasn't specialists, it wasn't therapy, it wasn't money. It was a simple boy at a playground who reached out in friendship and unlocked her miracle. Life has a way of humbling us. Sometimes the answers we search for in the biggest places are waiting in the smallest ones. And sometimes the greatest breakthroughs don't come from power or wealth, but from simple human kindness. So the next time you see someone struggling, remember this story. Because a smile, a word, an act of patience, it could mean more than you ever realize. It could change someone's life. Because kindness doesn't just heal others. It heals us too.